What's up guys, and welcome to another GR86 review. We are in a 2022 Toyota GR86 that has been modified quite extensively. The owner Dean has done the works to this thing. Full aero, we have the anime wrap, HKS Hipermax S coilovers, 18 by 9.5 inch Enkei wheels all around with a 245 section width, Michelin Sport all-season tire, and an HKS Legamax exhaust. Big ol' wing on the back, front splitter. I'll put the full list of mods in the video description. We have the 6-speed automatic transmission, which I've never driven in the GR86 or BRZ before, so I'm actually very curious to see how this performs. Love it. I think it's so funny how they designed the automatic shifter to look like a manual. You push to upshift and you pull to downshift. I've said this so many times, but it's such a pet peeve of mine. It should be the other way around. Let's just use the paddles here. Little bit of a delay on that downshift. Woo! Wow, this car feels really lively, even at canyon speeds. Pretty good brake feel, just some Stoptech Sport pads. Obviously, we're powered by the FA24 naturally aspirated engine. It's a 2.4 liter boxer 4, 228 horsepower, 184 pound-feet of torque. The car in stock form weighs a little over 2,800 pounds. It's very lightweight. Front engine, rear drive with a Torsen LSD. It's just a recipe for driving pleasure, whether you're in the canyons or on the track. It's a car that's built to make you smile. Does the automatic transmission detract from that smile? That's the question. So far, it's doing what I want. The upshifts and downshifts both are not the fastest by any means. The ZF 8-speed is definitely a much quicker transmission. This HKS exhaust with a mid-pipe, actually, it doesn't drone at all. Kind of a nice high-pitched sound at high RPM. I actually really like it. It's a very smooth sound. It's not burbly or raspy at all. Electric power steering, better than average. One of the better ones in the world of EPS racks, but still a little bit lacking compared to the previous generation BRZ and FRS and GT86. Definitely nowhere near as good as a modern Porsche EPS. Mostly just in second gear on this road. A little unfortunate that we aren't able to test out this transmission more often, given that we're just in second gear this whole time. There we go. There's a pretty good snappy upshift. Fun little car, even with the slush box. This thing's just a joy to drive. These paddle shifters mounted to the steering wheel, the actual material is just a pretty cheap feeling plastic, but the shape and design of the paddle itself is really nice. They're not too tall, they're not too short, they're just right. And the placement is exactly where I want them. The actuation of the paddles as well feels nice and solid. So engine oiling scares aside, the GR86 is still a great platform for tuning. There's a big aftermarket for this platform, and for good reason. It's just a car that's super receptive to mods. You can really turn this thing into anything you want. Do I wish it had more power? Yeah, I mean, who wouldn't? But it's not nearly as underpowered as the first gen. And there's actually a reasonable amount of mid-range torque. I've tracked my BRZ about a dozen times, and I never felt like I was sorely lacking power. Still get the rear end to step out even on sticky tires with just a sharp jab of the throttle. This car has such a quick steering ratio. You can really just steer it with your fingertips. I just wish it had a little bit more feedback. HKS Hipermax S coilover is actually doing a commendable job out here. It's not too stiff, it's not bouncy at all. I actually think this is perfect for canyon driving. Downshifts are a little sluggish. It almost feels like it's trying to rev match it, but it doesn't quite get to the right RPM before it engages the lower gear. At least that's what I'm feeling. Would I rather have this as a manual? Yes, obviously. It just gives me full control of what the engine's doing. The thing I like the most about this car in terms of mods though is the HKS Legamax exhaust with the mid-pipe. It sounds so good. It's such a refined, smooth sound at high revs, and there's no drone. Again, with that slightly sluggish downshift, even with all-season tires, this thing is just so much fun. It's so lightweight, doesn't have a tendency to overwork the tires. When you're in full auto mode, it does do this thing where if you get off throttle, the RPMs dip a little bit, like 300 to 400 RPM maybe, and then when you get back on the throttle, it goes back up. It doesn't do that in manual mode. It keeps the RPM based on what gear you're in. Just such a fan of this platform still. I really hope they figure out the engine oiling starvation issues. Whether they fix it from the factory or if someone develops a proper aftermarket solution, doesn't really matter to me. That's really the only thing holding this car back from true greatness. The way it drives is already so good. For $30,000, this is the most fun to drive car you can buy brand new. A big thank you to Dean for letting me rip on his GR86. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see y'all later.